What's going on? It's Trending Story. If it's your first time here and you want to find out new facts that will definitely make you smarter and more well informed, make sure to subscribe and activate the notifications bell so you don't miss anything.
Today we have another unusual story. A wounded tiger came to the house of a man to ask for help. This story is hard to believe, but as stories of local people tell, it really happened. Those who interact with animals for a long time claim they can speak without words. Science has not yet confirmed this, only indirectly referring to some experiments. But from people living and working in the wild, hunters, fishermen, and foresters, you can often hear completely unimaginable stories. One of these stories happened in the Primorsky territory. It was in the distant winter of 2008 in a remote village. Long after midnight, the local paramedic was dozing peacefully in his bed after a hard day's work. At first, it seemed to him that someone was walking outside the window. Then a bucket hanging on the edge of the bench rattled suspiciously. In heavy snow and wind, not even the slightest suspicion crept into him. In this cold weather season, here's a heartwarming story from the Russian Far East. And while I'm not usually one for watching cat videos on YouTube, this story comes with the cutest footage I've ever seen of tiger cubs. Check it out. For the first time ever, the Siberian tiger cubs were caught on camera in the Land of the Leopard National Park in Russia's Far East Primorsky Krai, a maritime territory. The cubs playing with each other isn't just amazingly cute, it's also evidence that the attention and investment in helping tigers survive is paying off. Like all tiger populations, the Siberian tiger population in the wild was driven towards extinction in the 20th century. Since the early 2000s, however, their population in Siberia has nearly doubled, now counting almost 600. In this 2013 throwback video from our YouTube channel, a local activist explains that technology and education are necessary to stop poachers, a primary threat to the tiger's survival in the Russian Far East. In 2008, the Russian government created Land of the Leopard National Park, where the 4 cubs are having so much fun these days, to protect Siberian tigers, Amur leopards, and their habitat. In the park's early days, Pacific Environment supported local environment activists to catch poachers and put out forest fires. Back then, forest fires were often set deliberately by poachers hunting these big cats to distract park rangers. In response, local activists organized volunteer fire brigades to prevent and fight forest fires in collaboration with the national park staff. Educational efforts have also paid off. Activists undertook mass public education efforts, aimed particularly at children and teenagers. Today, young Russians are speaking up against poaching and voicing their support for tiger and leopard conservation. Pacific Environment funded these local activists, as well as the installation of camera traps in the park, like the ones that captured footage of the 4 cubs, as well as in snow leopard habitat in the Altai Republic. The motion-activated cameras help researchers track population numbers, understand the behaviors and range of the animals, and decide how best to protect critical habitat. A wounded tiger has amazed wildlife experts by coming out of the wild to seek human help after he was wounded. That tiger, known as Tikhon, suddenly appeared at a remote Russian border post of the frontier with China over the New Year period and refused to leave. Even when the border guards, part of the FSB security service, formerly called the KGB, fired warning gunshots, the cat stayed put. The alpha male, believed to be aged 15 or older, is said to have defied his instincts to seek human help after being wounded. Tikhon is credited with playing a major role in halting the looming extinction of the Siberian big cat. During the active male's unusually long life, the highly endangered population of Amur, or Siberian tigers, rose from less than 350 to more than 550. While waiting for help, the tiger fed himself by killing and eating 2 guard dogs belonging to the frontier guards. Despite attempts to scare him away, Tikhon was still in the vicinity 5 days later. Wildlife rangers were called in and noted the atypical behavior by the Siberian tiger, a species endemic to the far east of Russia that normally shuns human contact. It arrived at the border post in the Land of the Leopard National Park on the 29th of December and showed no desire to leave, reports the Siberian Times. Sergei Ermilov, director of the Amur Tiger Center, praised the border guards for not shooting the animal. The behavior of the tiger showed that after a lifetime in the wild, this was an animal that came to them for help. A video shows how rangers shot a sedative into the big cat. The beast was later transported to the Big Cat Rehabilitation Center, but experts now think that after a lifetime on the prowl, the tiger knew his time was up. The captured tiger is at least 15 years old and maybe even older, said Eremilev. By tiger standards, he's a deep old man, especially in the wild. An assessment will be made of injuries and diseases. He said, now we're waiting for the results of tests that will allow us to understand what to do next. But apparently, the beast, due to age, will not be able to return to the wild. Sometimes even wild animals need human help, like in this story that happened in the Primorsky territory. The paramedic in one of the villages was sleeping quietly in his house when suddenly, through a dream, he heard some noises. It was winter outside and it was snowing behind the window, so he didn't even care. The man fell asleep safely, but he soon woke up to go to the bathroom, and for this it was necessary to go outside. But when he pushed the door, he realized it wasn't opening, and that didn't surprise the paramedic, who had to dig the entrance of the house more than once after a snowstorm. He crawled out the window and still decided to see what was preventing him from opening the door, and here a surprise awaited him. There was a large animal right by the door. Interest gave in to fear, but there was no place to retreat. Besides, the creature was already walking toward the man. The animal turned out to be a tiger, and when it approached a person, it suddenly stopped and bowed its head. There was a large wound on the animal's neck due to a metal loop. It's the work of Chinese poachers who are constantly looking for tigers in the border zone. Without hesitation, the medic helped the tiger to free himself from the noose and wash the wound. The animal was under the supervision of a man for several days and then disappeared. A week later, a man discovered a large deer carcass on the doorstep, so the grateful tiger thanked his savior. An adult tigress that injured 9 persons in Mataina village in Uttar Pradesh's Phibult district was trapped and beaten to death by villagers on Thursday. The incident took place close to where a team of forest officials was stationed. The angry villagers did not allow the injured tigress to be taken to the veterinary hospital, and the animal succumbed to her injuries within a few hours. An FIR has been lodged against 31 identified and 12 unknown people. The autopsy, conducted by a panel of 3 veterinarians, said that the tigress died of injuries inflicted upon her by the villagers. Phibult District Magistrate Vahib Srivastava said some of the attackers have been identified, while efforts are on to identify others. The district magistrate has also ordered a magisterial inquiry to probe the role of forest officials in protecting the life of tigress. According to Field Director H. Rajamohan, the tigress' age was assessed between 5 and 6 years. She'd sustained fractures and injuries from sharp-edged weapons like spears on almost every part of her body. She'd also broken ribs. The tigress was cremated after the autopsy. According to sources, the tigress had injured 9 persons on Wednesday. After it attacked 19-year-old villager Shyam Mohan on Thursday, the big cat was surrounded by villagers armed with laths and spears and brutally assaulted. Former field director Dudwa Tiger Reserve J.C. Misra said, the tigress could have been rescued and given timely medical aid as the forest officials had reached the spot. But their inability to rescue the injured big cat in a span of over 9 hours undoubtedly reflects their inability in protecting wildlife in adverse situations. The magisterial inquiry will probe whether sincere efforts were actually made at the spot by forest officials to rescue and save the life of the injured tigress. The Phibult District and Phibult Tiger Reserve have witnessed deaths of as many as 16 tigers and 3 leopards within the jungle and its surroundings since 2012. Most of the deaths were caused by poisoning, snaring, affliction with contagious ailments like canine distemper, while only a few were due to infighting. However, Wednesday's incident was the first in which an adult tigress was beaten to death by villagers in the district. Thanks for watching. Please like and share the video in social networks. We'll be right back to you as fast as we can.